Hello, greetings, and welcome back to the BFC, where we go into the trenches of the trading world and get us some DD from the source. Please like and share this content. I said this was going to be the year of the BFC, and I will say it's been just that. And we're only halfway there. So, guys, make sure you blow up the chat and leave a question or comment for us. Lots to talk about. We got a lot going around, lots going on. And so let's stick around to the end of the interview because I'm going to give you a quick rundown on where we're at with some of the stocks that we've been covering on a regular basis. But before we go any further, I gotta crack the locked in water here just to kick things off. This is day 8 trying the product. So cheers to you guys. All right, it's go time. Today we are talking 3DX Industries, and many of you have been reaching out asking, what the hell's going on with these guys? Well, let's find out. Here with us today is the team: Harold Blackwell in acquisitions, Vice President Mr. Nick Coriano, and CEO Roger Jansen. Let's bring him in. Gentlemen, welcome back to the BFC. Long time no talk. How we doing?
Good afternoon, everyone.
How's it going?
Good afternoon. How's it going?
I don't know who to put on the hot seat first. But I want to talk about a couple things. Let's talk about, and I'm going to go back a couple months. There was a reduction in convertible debt. And so I wanted you guys to address this as a team. You announced a 54% reduction in convertible debt at a 2,400% market premium. So tell us a little bit about how you were able to achieve this.
Who's on? Who's going to take that?
Nick, go ahead.
Yeah, so we had convertible debt on the books. We had negotiated the option to make it at the conversion of our option, and we took the option. We negotiated good terms on the front end of that deal, and we took the option. That's the bottom line. We priced it right, and it was a strong move for the company to take debt off the books. It makes the balance sheet look better, and strengthens our position for another round of financing. So, it's another commitment that we've had to shareholders before, which is we're not taking any toxic financing. We're not going to do anything spiral that's going to, tank our stock. So that's what that was. It was a financing that ran its course, and we exercised our option to convert it.
Okay. And you did just talk about a little bit about strategic funding to propel manufacturing innovation. So you mentioned this back in May. This was May 22nd, about $150,000 bridge loan. Talk to us a little bit about the terms. What is this? Explain what the bridge loan is and explain how that's going to benefit the company and benefit ultimately the shareholders.
Yeah, the bridge loan is basically a note that's convertible out at 5 cents. So we have very favorable terms on it, and it's a little bit of the cash that we're continuing to raise to get us up to speed in the manufacturing world. We were able to bring in the factory tech on the 3D metal printer. The guy, they built the machine for 20 years, but sometimes you got to bring in the high-end guys to get things tuned in perfectly. We've done that with the money, and bridge loan, has definitely been helping move things forward for sure.
Yeah. Where are you guys at? And I'm just, and you guys chime in at any time. I'm just going to fire off questions, and you could. I'm just going to go based on what you're bringing to me. Let's talk about. So you get funding. Where are we at in regards to maximum profitability with this company? I know a lot of people are waiting to see something very, very big. The share price has been lackluster. Volume overall in the OTC for share structure similar to your own has pretty much dried up, though it's not completely dead, but it's at a significant percentage of what it was many years ago. So what are we doing to get profitability in the company up? What are we doing to get just that share price up?
Yeah, so I'll tackle part of this question, and if Roger or Harold want to follow on. But I've said this since the beginning, of my venture at 3DX, and I think we're at 10-year anniversary at 3DX. You got to understand where in the cycle you are, of the business cycle and of the market cycle. Right now, all of the OTC is dried up. So as far as the stock price is concerned, I want to make it very clear to our shareholders that we are the winner in 3D printing. Right? I just retweeted something that I tweeted the other day. If you would have invested in any other 3D printing company, you would have lost more money than you would have lost at 3DX. That's any of them. Desktop Metal, all the NASDAQ, all the New York Stock Exchange, go put them up against 3DX. You'll see that we are less lower, right? Not something to brag about. We're not saying that we went up, right? But what we are saying is understand where you are in the life cycle of the sector, right? When Amazon, and I always make an analogy to the e-commerce sector because I think it's most technology sectors play out like this, which is the technology gets introduced. People see the value in the technology. They understand where it's going. They understand that it's going to, take over major market share, and they overhype it and they overpromise, right? And usually the market does this. It's not always the company. Sometimes it is the companies, but usually the market sees it, the technology. So like in e-commerce, they saw it and they said, oh my God, there's 8 billion people in the world. E-commerce is going to take over. It's going to be huge. And they gave anything with a .com evaluation in the billions. And what happened? Well, it doesn't happen overnight. The technology still has to get proven out. It still has to get built. So those valuations come back down. The companies get crushed. Most of them go out of business, right? And then 10 years later, 15 years later, you see Amazon, buying out all their competitors and crushing Barnes and Noble. And you see eBay, could buy out PayPal and then, relinquish PayPal. PayPal was another technology play, fintech, right? You can look at the same cycle there. They promised the world, thought, well, fintech's going to take over the world. And they got these huge valuations, and then they got crushed. And then 10, 15 years later, you realize that PayPal is in the running to buy Chase or Citigroup, right? So that's exactly where we are with 3D printing, right? 3D printing we were all there when it was overhyped at the beginning. We understood, hey, we're going to be able to make product like this. We're going to be able to make changes like this. And then the technology catches up, right? And what happens? The valuation comes down. And then the lone survivors in 10, 15 years will be the people that lead the charge. That's where we're at in the cycle. So where are we at in the cycle? We're in the place where the valuations get crushed and people start becoming more realistic about things, right? So like I said, if you put us up against Desktop Metal, if you put us up against Stratus, if you put us up against 3D Systems, you would have been better off putting your money with us. That's the bottom line. That's the truth, right? And if, by the way, just to add to that, there's probably another 4 companies that Roger can name that are no longer around. They're not even here. I'm talking about billions in value. I'm not talking about millions. Like we're a small company, but billions in valuation lost, billions in shareholder value, poof, disappear.
And do you think you'll be able to when things rebound, capture that business?
Absolutely.
Capture some of that, a good percentage of the market that was lost? Absolutely,
100%. And for the same reason that every other technology company does it, right? Because they have a moat now in their business because they understand the technology and no one else understands it. So it's not a wonder that, an eBay or an Amazon or a PayPal or some of these technology companies that survived their storm because all these technology bubbles, right, happen and then the survivors end up winning. It's not a coincidence. It's because they had the know-how. So when it was time to sell online, right, they weren't starting at square one. They had this 10 years of bedrock. And that's where we feel really positioned for that, right? Because not only do we have the know-how, now we're starting to get the brand recognition. I think Roger can speak a little bit about this coming back from that conference where now, people know who 3DX is. They know we're a player here and we haven't gone anywhere. Whereas there's a lot of players that, like I said, they're gone. X1, they were a public company, $1 billion public company. They got bought out by a huge valuation. The valuation at the stock that they got bought out got crushed again. And the shareholders there are left holding no bag, right? So I know OTC loves to say, we're holding on to the bag. Well, guess what? At least you have a bag. There's a lot of companies that you could have invested in the 3D printing sector that would not only would have took all your money, but would have disappeared. They would be gone right now. So,
and I could say similarly. I think something similar is going to happen to the cannabis sector as well, because those
same
companies,
cycle.
Yes, and it's a dime a dozen. They're a dime a dozen, and some of them already have closed up shop. Some of them are growing, and I think that you're going to see, the bottom feeders. You're just going to see companies merge in and get bought out. I think that's the same thing. You're going to have bigger companies come in, and they are going to basically. I think there's going to be 20 companies, cannabis companies that are well known, maybe 5 household names once descheduling goes through. I'm finding that correlation because I've been doing a lot of research into that lately. And so what you're saying is resonating with me in regards to what I've been reading in the cannabis industry as well. But we have covered a lot of cannabis companies on the show. Most of those guys are doing great. But it is going to be vicious out there. So
yeah, even
at
a
least we
higher
have
hurdle in that.
at least some sharks have got eaten by other sharks, I guess you could say.
Even a higher, probably a higher threshold in that sector, right? Because of the legality aspect of it. You know, in our sector, it wasn't the legality aspect; it was the knowledge behind it, right? It was understanding what we do. Like that took years, not days, right? It took years to get people in manufacturing to understand what we're doing, and then to get the end user to understand the value in what we're doing. And we're just turning that corner. So like I said, when you know that cycle, we're just turning that corner where now we can have the conversation. I think the NACS code only came out a year ago, 2 years ago. Like the actual NACS code, the government code for additive manufacturing. There was no government contracts, guys. There was nothing in the space. Like there wasn't even a code, a NACS code for 3D printing. So yeah, I feel like we're definitely in line.
Well, you know, Eric,
Go ahead, Roger.
It's interesting, Eric, with that comment you made about the consolidation. If you look historically, if anybody studies the companies, there's one analogy I like to show. At the turn of the 20th century, when that technology, the automobile, came out, there was over 700 automobile manufacturers. You know, so eventually the ones that won are the ones that stuck around. And to highlight a little bit more on what Nick said, I was at the Rapid Show and I hit every keynote speaker. I listened to every CEO in this business. And a lot of what, you know, they knew some consolidation was coming, some things were happening there. But the general overall pitch everybody was talking about was 3D printing and additive manufacturing was not oversold. But I don't know if you guys caught me there. I blinked out. They said the timeline was one thing that everybody realizes this, and they're very customer focused. Additive manufacturing has a much higher profit margin in manufacturing its parts than any standard subtractive by a long shot. So that's what's driving this. There's a lot of big companies that have spent a lot of money. They're well positioned now, and kind of like Nick was mentioning, now that little shakeout's coming, and 3DX, we're here and we know how to use the technology, and we're continuing to look at the ones that come and go. Some come and go fast, some don't, but it's improving all the time, and we understand the profitability. And we are taking advantage of that. It's like your question earlier, Eric, how are we going to get to that profitability? We're going to continue to always show up. Now, we're talking a technology that is a very high entry level for as far as money wise, and we balance that out without taking a funding that's too dilutive to our stock versus doing some bootstrapping. So it's a combination of those two as we build this business. And when we find the right financial partner, we'll grow much faster. Meanwhile, we're going to continue to do what we're doing and just keep motoring along at the fastest speed we're capable of doing. So.
Yeah, and you talk about your profit margins, and you've mentioned it on the show before, and you have very high profit margins. I think that what I, as a shareholder, yes, I am a shareholder, just for the record. What I'd like to see is high profit margins that you have, but more of them. You know what I mean? More contracts.
So would we, by the way.
I know you guys want the same thing. So how can you adjust the journey that you guys are taking to try and maximize that? I mean, what was the profit margin last we talked? It was 35% or something along those lines?
Yeah, it's probably closer to 50 in the overall.
50%. I know it was very, very nice. And
it depends on the product too, right?
Yeah, we discussed that, how it depends on what you're doing. So what adaptations and how have you guys assimilated yourself to this market, and how are you looking to basically increase those numbers now?
Yeah, well, one of the things that we've done a couple pivots, right? For those that have been following the journey, I mean, we've been steadfast. We're not going anywhere. One of the beauties of why I love this company is that it is very stable in the sense that there is a business underlying it, right? Even as because most, by the way, newer technology companies, if the newer technology fails, they fail. At 3DX, because we had such a bedrock at subtractive manufacturing, it's impossible, right? Even if the new technology fails, which it will not, it has not, it will not, it's continuing to thrive. But to answer your question directly, one of the things that we've been trying to stick our fork in or foot in, depending on what analogy you want to use, is, larger scalable government contracting opportunities. And, we had Harold on that initially, and me and Harold formed a new relationship with, I think it's BLS government. Brian Long is his name. And just an individual who knows the government contracting space better. And, we're openly looking for other partners and contractors in that area. So if, someone listening knows of a government contracting agency or, an entrepreneur in that area, reach out to us because we're actively looking. But that's one of the things that we're kind of doubling down on, and more than likely do it in a joint venture fashion as opposed to in-house, because that was one of the mistakes that I think that, we saw that, our resources are very limited. You see more guys on this call than you would see in your average OTC call, right? Most of the time it's just one CEO. But even still, the human resources and the time are lapsed are very, it's lean. We don't have a lot of resources, right? So when we initially thought about going into government contracts, we thought about in-housing it. Now we're looking at, let's see if we can get some prime contractors or some contractors out there that are already bidding on these contracts to make sure we form a relationship with them, so that way they can do the heavy lifting for us and we can take advantage of those opportunities. So that's probably the biggest swing. And then of course, acquisitions, which we're always looking at. I mean, the other two on this call will tell you, we see acquisitions now. Whether we pull the trigger on them or not is for another topic point or another conversation, because the valuations in this sector are super high. We've seen a lot of acquisitions that wouldn't have panned out well. So if you look at Desktop Metal, if you look at 3D Systems, some of these acquisitions that they did, I can't imagine their shareholders are happy when you acquire a company for 200, 300 million, and then a few months later it's worth 50 or 5 million, right? That's a huge cut. So we've been very selective. I still think the valuations are high in the market, but those are the two avenues where I see scale into the future. And again, that future not only depends on us, but it depends on the market. Like it's the acquisition market, federal government contracting market, the market for manufacturers to understand what we're doing, which we're not that. I know people like to think, that we're in year 20 of this. We're not. The NACS code just came out. It just came out. So when we announced our government contracting division and the idea to even, they just came out with the NACS code to be able to submit RFP for the government to even be able to put out, hey, we need 3D printing services. That did not exist. It didn't exist. So I think, people have to quail. And I think Roger was right? A lot of this, maybe the sector didn't overpromise, but I know myself, me personally as an investor, I overhyped it, right? I overhyped the capabilities. And I think I talked about this a few times here with you.
You have. Yeah, you have.
Yeah, I thought you go in there, you push a button and it 3D prints, right? So I think for, the market to regulate itself and to understand itself, it took time. It's taking time. And it's something that we're on the cusp on. But those are the two avenues that we're leaning into in a different strategy, right? Not the same way we did, but in a different strategy.
Harold, talk about your role. I don't want you just to sit there and be bored, man. That's right. I got something special planned for you later, by the way. So just buckle up. But talk about your role. Talk about your thought your thought process in regards to getting a really nice acquisition. What you look for, what you avoid. Just talk about what your goal is ultimately.
Yeah. So and appreciate that. Thanks for the lead in. And this goes to what Roger and Nick have kind of touched upon and already discussed. So essentially what we're looking at from my mind's eye is with respect to what can enhance our capabilities and also a capacity, right? So when we say enhance the capabilities and capacity, it's not so much of doing things that we do not do per se, but more complementary with respect to where we're trying to go or where 3DX is currently in their journey. And then two things that basically I would like to say of putting out the value and amplifying what that means. So for example, when we're on the M&A side and we're currently searching and scouring for opportunities, so we have strategic partners and relationships that are introducing us to potential acquisitions and or ways of where we can collaborate or strategically form or craft some type of I would like to say, venture or opportunity to take on an opportunity. So some of the things that we've been looking at, for example, are things like, for example, small arms manufacturers, just, general high level. Some of those who are basically more, I would like to say, in the business of a bit more cyclical in nature, but add something where you can be able to beef up your relationships with some of the, for example, Department of Defense and agencies of that sort, right? And then two, trying to understand where we'd be able to have added value. So, for example, there may be opportunities that exist currently and are looking for how to get the ability to build up their human capital and capacity as well. That's one thing I'd like to give credit to Nick and Roger and the 3DX board is looking at, well, what specifically can they do to enhance and beef up the human capital or human component, so to speak, right? And so we're always engaged in conversations and discussions with individuals and organizations, businesses, companies, with regard to, well, how can we improve or how can we enhance the human side, so to speak, right? So those are some of the real high level topical points. And then to Nick's point about, introducing and outsourcing the Fed GovCon type of work or government contracting opportunities. So yeah, we've built up and we already had relationships in existence with business development folks from and on the federal government side. These people who have worked for and done business development for firms that have been taking down from anywhere from just under 100 million annually on up to those who are right there as well as over 100 million annually. So they know they have deep connections and relationships, and they're always being very helpful with regard to helping us and introducing us to who and what that next step looks like, so to speak. So,
yeah. Thank you for that answer. And I want to ask you a question. Like when we mentioned partnerships and stuff, and you guys lie within the manufacturing sector. But let's talk about and I just thought of this right now. Like, what would a good partnership be outside of the 3D metal printing and manufacturing? What's your sister industry? I know somebody mentioned OpenAI. So AI is the big buzzword. I mean, there's a lot of hype behind it. What's the sister industry that you guys could see yourself partnering with?
Roger, you want to touch that? And then I got some ideas, but I'm going to go left. I'm going to go far left off the reservation on this one.
Eric, on the AI, there is some companies that are combining AI with additive manufacturing and manufacturing in general. And one's out of Seattle, John Drake, and there's another one, Altair, that I talked to down there. They have an office outside of Seattle. We're paying attention to them. We're talking to them. We're seeing how we might fit together. We have discussions on that all the time. How they're still tackling that. They're trying to figure out how that's going to, they need a lot of data from us, data from other people, and then they work that into the AI, and it'll ultimately be a good tool. And we're holding hands with them right now. It hasn't gone anywhere, but there's a couple of them that we're working with on the AI as far as that goes.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go a little left here because
it's going off the rails.
I'm going off the rails. Get the train conductor. I thought you were gonna put it on the bottom. Going off the rails. What do you call it? So what can we marry with was the question, right? What industries could we sister?
Yeah, what would you consider your sister industry?
Yeah, sister industry, right? To me, that's the question is really, who are we most complementary with, right? And the truth is, there's so many, right? So if you look at business to consumer products, right? Like I know Roger's been making, whether it's through subtractive or additive wallets, these little metal wallets that, you guys have them where the credit card goes in and this stops the IFD. I know Roger's got one next to him. I have one right here too. But they have a business, they have an e-commerce business, right? It's very easy to sister with a company like that and be on demand, right, for the products that they make. Now, this goes back to under promising and over delivering, right, and kind of making sure that the market understands where we are with the technology. Because when I got here 3 years ago, I thought we were there. We weren't there. The industry wasn't there. I'm not talking about 3DX, guys. I'm talking about the industry. The 3D printing industry wasn't there, right? So, business e-commerce products on demand in the future, I see that as a sister agency. Mm-hmm. I've always said that, my vision, my personal vision of where 3D printing is going, and on-time manufacturing and on-time demand is a place where you're going to go on Amazon. You're going to look at a product. It's not going to be made. You're going to click on that product to buy it, and it's going to be made then, right? This on-time manufacturing. Now, currently where the capabilities are, right? If you have a product that's made of plastic and metal, maybe the machine can't do that. But in the future, I do see a place where there's going to be a ton of products that aren't made yet. And instead of shipping all this product to these Amazon facilities, right, you're going to click on a product that's going to be instantaneously made. It's going to get shot to a 3D printer. Now, the software for that, the machine for that, the logistics for that, that's going to take years, if not decades, right? So I don't want to sell anyone on the idea that it's going to happen next week. But I remember being at a Rapid event or a mug event, I think it was, Additive Manufacturing Users Group, for those who aren't following the acronyms. But there was a guy making that software where you had the part, and the part would get shot out to a different 3D printer throughout the country. Now, this was an in-house software, right? You would still have to marry that software with an Amazon or a Facebook Marketplace or an eBay, right? But my point is that that's where I see the ultimate sistering of 3D printing, right? Is a place where it finally gets the business to consumer, and the consumer is seeing a product where, whether it's through either customization or because of logistics reasons, it's not made yet. And as soon as you press buy now, it can be made. But I mean, that you're talking about motorcycle parts, car parts, the list can really go on of who's the perfect sister, or traditionally how most 3D printing companies are entering the market. It's other manufacturers. That's the best sister company we can have. When we look at our clients and the base of our clients, it's other manufacturers. So it's really boring. You want to talk about boring, right? It's, and that Roger Smiley is not boring to him, right? But the rest of the world, or Hero loves, the sector. I love 3D printing, right? I love the idea that we can make anything, how creative it can be. But currently, I would say the best sister organizations are other manufacturers, other people that are doing, metal products or parts that can see the value in, how fast we can do it, how fast we can make the changes, and then eventually the profit margins that can be made.
Yeah, and I think that people are trying to and that's why you mentioned, is it a boring industry? It's it's very detailed. It's not the most popular industry. Like when you're looking at all right, what's the sexiest thing to talk about? Like I was saying before, people talk about AI robots, cannabis, some miracle drug or whatever, but it's when you're avoiding, all those hype words and the speculation and excitement and, what's the biggest buzz? Reverse mergers coming in, those things do generate a lot of excitement. So you have, a double challenge, I would think. You do.
Yeah, and I think we can do a better job of that, right? I'll take it on the chin for that. I think we can do a better job of that, because if Elon Musk was talking about 3D printing, we'd be excited.
Oh, right? Yeah.
There's 20 other rocket companies out there. Nobody knows about them. We know about SpaceX. Why? There's 20 other electric companies and electric car companies out there. No one's talking about them. Why are they talking about Tesla? Right? So he makes it exciting. And I think we can do a better job of that, because it is exciting. The truth is the idea that, you can think of something in your head, draw it up, put it in the machine, press print, and the thing comes out. I mean, if that's not exciting, I don't know what is. If that's not the future, I don't know what is. When you look into the future, I don't know if how many people here are going to get the Jetsons reference, right? I know most people here will, at least the four of us here will. But the idea that, you press the robot buttons and whatever you wanted came out, that's here.
And it's not wasteful. Especially this specifically is not wasteful. You're only using what you need to produce.
And by the way, you can use what you didn't use again. So when you talk about, what's exciting about the future, this is one of those things that is exciting about the future. And we probably don't do a good a job as we could. But we're doing the best we can with our limited resources. But I always think we can do better in every area that we're in. But it's definitely one of those areas that people should be excited about. They might not
Yeah.
be, but they should be, because it is game changing. It is one of those things that you're going to look back and be like, I didn't see it. But let me revert back to my point before. Every technology goes through this. Every technology. I mean, I put it on Twitter a couple months back, was the headline of the newspaper that was like, the internet's a scam, right? It's like the internet comes
Here
out.
we are.
Here we are. Here's everybody in the world, right? Social media is a scam. Like, why is Facebook buying Instagram for $1 billion?
It's all scam until it's not.
Exactly. So it's, that's where I think we are. I think we're at the point where they overhyped it, and now everybody's like, it's not really that big of a deal. And then 10, 20 years from now, you'll realize, no, that was a big deal. Like, the idea that we didn't have to go and dig up all these materials, put them into a block just to take away from the block to create this one part, right, was a huge deal.
Yeah. Let's talk about getting excited. All right, I'm going to put a picture up. Roger, I'm going to challenge you.
Okay.
I want you to get people really excited about this. All right, here we go.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Vroom, vroom, vroom,
That's
vroom,
right.
vroom.
So tell us about this.
Does anybody know anything about that piece in that picture?
A little bit. I tweeted something out, so maybe 2 or 3 people know.
Okay. Well, some of the exciting things we can do with manufacturing. This is a piece that was machined. It's a cylinder for a motor that's going to be in a Speed Week bike here in a few weeks down at the Salt Flats, setting a world record. And I saw the bike for the first time completely assembled. It took them 2 years we machined that 2 years ago. And they had to put that piece, and it's surrounded by hundreds of other components to make this bike go. It's basically a 100cc motor, shared combustion chamber for those techies out there in the motor world, 2 external crankshafts, 45 horsepower, about 35.5 pounds of torque at the rear wheel of this thing. And there's a good chance they're going to get a world record right out of the bat on it. And the interesting thing about this is, our goal on this is this next cylinder we're going to do is going to be 3D metal printed. This one was machined out of billet aluminum, and that's for Trimax Speedsters. And they had talking about getting things done there's the other big bike. That's our 3000cc V-twin that we have 3D metal printed intake manifolds on. And the last 2 years have kind of been a wash down at the Salt Flats because literally we were rained out. So there's a lot of excitement this year, and I do believe YouTube TV Live is going to be there. And we'll be down there talking to a lot of people, making our connections, and watching what all those crazy nuts that manufacture boring things, when they put them all together, they do some crazy stuff, and it's a lot of fun.
It is impressive, and I saw those posts, and that's why I had to grab those things, right before the show. Actually, the one I just grabbed right now, I'm like, let's get silly up in here. But you know what? It just goes to show when you break it down to the micro components of things, like you just said, it could be as boring as the day is long, but when you put those things together, they create something that's truly amazing. And I think that when you're talking about these bikes, when you're talking about, setting world records, that's important. And that's where the excitement comes from. So, I think it's awesome that you guys are a part of this and that you're contributing to this. So you should be very, very excited.
Harold always reminds me that you need manufacturing. This is his blanket statement. He's like, Nick, everyone needs manufacturing. He's like, you're not getting through life without manufacturing. He goes, look around your room. Everything was manufactured, and now I'm looking back at your guitars back there, and I guarantee you there's a metal part there somewhere that's someone machined, right? So even in the things like you said, the parts may be boring. You look at that part's boring until you see that motorcycle go 1,000 miles an hour, and you go, wait a second, this is pretty exciting stuff. So that to me is one of the exciting things that I tend to forget about manufacturing, which is, hey, it's everywhere. Like, just look around your room, look around the parking lot, everywhere. Somebody made that, and we're trying to make sure that it was made here in the United States.
Roger could be the one to, like, for example, a piano in the background. I mean, you can 3D metal print or create all of the parts necessary by 3D printing capabilities and capacities.
Unlimited opportunities if you put your mind into that. That's still the beauty of the technology, is you can make a complex part at a much better price point than you ever could before. So your young engineers now that are hitting the market are super excited about being able to design something without the restraints of machining costs.
I don't, and
Track.
I want to dig into that a little bit because, you know, sometimes if you're in the field, you don't realize what some of these things do, but that complexity, being able to manufacture something complex, a lot of people gloss over that, right? And at the trade shows, if you ever go to a 3D printing trade show, they'll give you this piece that was so complex and they'll go, oh, we made this in one shot. And most people just gloss over, oh, that's neat. That's what they'll say. That's the most common thing. It's neat, right? But what people don't understand is that manufacturing determines design in many cases. So there's a lot of things out there that were designed in a way that was either not aesthetic or not as completely functional as it should be because the manufacturing processes wouldn't allow the other way. So when you look at, you know, a house, the house hasn't changed in years. It's the same. I mean, we're still building them the same way. 16 on center for your carpentry. And, you know, so a house, cars, Elon Musk, back to Elon Musk, right? The car hasn't innovated. It's still the same thing, right? 30 years after, you know, 100 years after it was made. My point is, because of the manufacturing methods determined what could be made. So now I think in the next, you know, 50, 100 years, you're going to see things that we would have never thought were possible because they weren't. They weren't with the standard traditional methods of manufacturing, right? And the people that are going to win there, at least my humble opinion, are the people that were there and the people that understood it. Because if in 5 years, every kink is ironed out, and I'm optimistic, right? But in 5, 10, 20 years, whatever it is, everything is, you know, every kink is figured out. You're still going to have to understand it. So the entries into market are going to be very slow. You're not going to see a ton of competitors enter into this market over the next 10, 20 years. As a matter of fact, what you're seeing now is the mass exodus out of the market. You're seeing people get out because it was either too complicated, they couldn't raise enough money, they couldn't, you know, weather the storm. So that's something that I'm very proud of at 3DX, right? It's easy to look at, you know, the S&P 500 and say, well, you didn't outperform that. Yeah, but look at our peers. We outperformed most of them, if not all of them, literally, right? So that's something I'm very proud of. And, you know, as we continue to push along, we'll find out who the clear winner is. In time, we'll find out for sure.
That's awesome. I love the enthusiasm. I think it's time for the fire round. I think it's time to put Harold on the hot seat. So let's get this.
Yeah, the target on your back, Harold. He was texting me today. He was like,
I'm having some fun with it. I'm going to have fun with Harold. Let's start that fire round, Rob. Let's do it. This is what's going to happen. You're going to answer 10 questions in 2 minutes. If you get to the bonus, which is extra, then whoever's watching, type in contest at bfccontest@gmail.com and I'll send you some wing sauce or something like that. Are you ready to do this, Mr. Harold Blackwell?
I am ready.
All right, here we go. Let's set that timer and let's get going on this. All right, chicken wings, blue cheese or ranch?
Oh, man, that's a tough question. When I was eating wings, I always went with ranch.
Ranch. What stock trade was your biggest gainer?
Oh, gosh, man, that's a great question. So I remember this.
Got to be quick.
I was going with GE because I was with the company. And
boom. GE. What is the greatest risk you've ever taken?
Started my own business.
Boom. If you could invest in only one industry for the rest of 2024, what would it be?
Me personally, I would say manufacturing.
Boom. If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
The ability to be perpetually opportunistic and also right at the same time.
Got it. If you could sit with one world famous CEO, who would it be and why?
Oh man, I just read his book, Charlie Munger.
All right.
Not deceived, so unfortunately. But.
What is the worst song ever?
Gosh, man, who let the dogs out?
What is the most useless invention of all time?
You know, I got to censor myself on that one, man. Oh, gosh, man. You know what? The one I want to say, politically incorrect, so I'm going to stick that in my back pocket, man.
Got it.
Spork.
Wait, Spork. There you go. If you could invite 3 people to dinner, living or dead, who would they be? Go.
Oh man, that's a great question. Number one, I would invite Malcolm X, right? And then in addition to that, I would also invite Abraham Lincoln, and I would also invite Thomas Jefferson.
Good. What is your greatest business skill?
Oh, I would always say that it's with respect to the ability to be pragmatic. So
Pragmatic. What TV movie character are you most like and why?
Wonder Woman, man.
I pushed you along a little bit.
Oh, that's great.
Hey, that was fun regardless. Whoever emails me first at bfccontest@gmail.com, I'll send you some wing sauce. Because why the hell not? Right?
There we go.
I love it. Do we have branded Buffalo Side Fire Chat wing sauce yet?
Not yet. Oh, wow. That's a great idea.
You know who we should talk to? Roger, Alex.
Oh, yeah.
Alex Cross is making his own wing sauce. Maybe we can. He said Wonder Woman.
That's Robin.
Listen, the truth maker capability. I always make people tell the truth. I was gonna say, man, you gotta get your own marinade sauce, man.
Yeah. You know what? I think BFC wing sauce, you know what? As we grow, you know, I'll give you guys credit for that. This is where the idea came through. But no, it's true. You know, it's I love doing those fire rapid rounds. And the reason why is because I get to really get inside your brain a little bit. And you're like, you had phoned a friend over here, Nick, that was like a spork. The spork was
that was the only one he missed.
No, I did have something in mind, but
he's gonna tell me that one later. We're gonna have to find that one out later.
That would not be appropriate.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff. It's always.
See, I made up for it. I said Wonder Woman. What the heck, man? Come on, it's all about
when you just grabbed that one, didn't you?
Telling capabilities. I didn't know that.
I'm gonna watch the replay. I'm gonna see if you got that before that 1 second went away. You know.
Oh man, we gotta go to the
replay.
Yeah, Warner Wolf style. There we go.
Oh, I have some funny comments here. All right, wait, there's a couple going. He got it. He got it. Oh,
they gave it to you.
What? No,
all right. Good question.
Yeah, I think they did. You guys have, right, Roger? You guys have made some.
We've printed some watch casings. There's some companies. There's a company out there doing nothing but titanium watches, additive manufacturing only. And that's interesting industry. Yes.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Good question.
Absolutely. If you guys want to address this question again, you know, just because I want to. Any OpenAI partnership for 3D printing, if you want.
So we mailed them a letter. I think they're talking specifically to one of the PRs we put out. We mailed them a letter. We tried our best, especially at the hype, to get into their venture. They had a venture arm that was making investments into other companies focused on AI, and we threw our hat in the ring there. We didn't get a call back from them, but OpenAI and just AI in general has been very useful for us on the back end. On the office, to bring down office costs. So, and then as well on the RFPs and, just any kind of writing, it's been a tremendous help. But yeah, I mean, no OpenAI partnership for 3D printing yet, I guess. We didn't get our call back there from the specific OpenAI letter that we put out, but we're definitely utilizing AI, and we continue to be a leader there too in the 3D printing space for sure.
Excellent answer. And Mad Scientist has another question. How do we get in contact with them about manufacturing items?
That's the Mad Scientist. Just to give us a call or an email with info. We monitor that email every day. We have stuff come in all the time. We'd be happy to take a look at it.
Yeah, info@3dxindustries.com or just Google 3DX Industries, Ferndale, Washington. Well, there's only one 3DX Industries, but you'll find the office phone number. Unlike other OTC companies, yes, we have an office. Yes, we have a facility. We're there 9 to 5. We have employees. So, yeah, give us a call.
Yeah, I'm actually going to pull up your info just to drop it down there. And you guys could find all the stuff at 3dxindustries.com. So make sure if you have any ideas or have anything that you want to manufacture, there you go. Right? Putting that right in there for you. Easy to remember, 3dxindustries.com. All right. Said that slow-mo. Yeah. So I just want to say thank you guys for coming on and giving us an update and being transparent as always. And I look forward to seeing your journey over the next 6 months as we gear up towards 2025. I know some people are probably thinking like, how are you talking about 2025? It's like, well, we're already halfway through the year. You know, we've done a lot on the show. I know you guys are trying to get as much done as possible. You are trying to go up and out and do what you got to do, and you're navigating that journey, navigating that path. And I want you guys to stick with it and keep doing what you do. And I want to give each of you a final thought to share with our viewers today. We'll start with Harold. Go right ahead. You first.
Yeah, I was going to say definitely with respect to at least going in strong and trying to be serious about a complementary acquisition or anything to enhance our capabilities and capacity.
Coriano.
We are the #1 metal 3D printing company on the market. Go put us up against any other NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange company and see who you would have been better off with putting the money in.
That is. I like that. And Roger.
I love it. Additive manufacturing is a win all the way around, and I appreciate everybody here taking the time to listen to us, and then our door is always open, and I'm here to talk.
Right on. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for being a part of the show. I can't wait to have you all on again. But that's enough. Get these guys out of here. Get them out of here.
Thanks, Eric.
All right, everybody. Take care.
Always a pleasure to sit down with those guys. But we have some breaking news. Let's get right to that. Well, what have we here? IGPK, ticker IGPK, JFH e-commerce, digital e-commerce put out a great tweet here. Greetings, JFHE.com, or com said, would like to share some videos of our celebration moving into our new building. How cool is that? So I know a lot of us were talking about that. So we were waiting to hear because it's the 14th, and I have this pulled up on the slide. We're going to talk about IGPK in a second, but hey, here it is. So it's great to see them communicating. It's great to see them opening up those lines of communication and moving forward. So you know what? I'm excited. So that is a nice little breaking news piece right there. So let's get right into some of the other stocks I wanted to cover before we sign off here. I just want to keep it consistent. And so let's just go right for it. All right, let's talk a little bit about DRCR. All right. Lots of great things happening here. Just a refresher on their financials. They banged out $120 million in revenue in 2023, with a net profit of about $2.5 million. Very, very impressive. I like where they're going. And I think they're going for an uplist. They've talked about this many, many times. They were granted officially a South African gambling license by the Western Cape Gambling Board. This milestone allows us to operate in the booming $1.8 billion market. It's amazing stuff. And then you have their tweet about how they had record-breaking annual results with that $128.9 million. Uplist? I think so. They're making some headway. They're banging out revenues, and it's unbelievable what that company is doing. CEO James Gibbons is just rocking it, and he knows how to run a company, and he's doing the right thing. And you know what? They have a Discord. So go on X. It's Jeepman. If you find Jeepman, if you follow Jeepman, he started the Discord with a couple other guys, and they did a product demo too, if I'm correct. So really remarkable stuff. These guys are not stopping whatsoever. So I'm excited, with what they're doing, and they talk about it in their press release. Major national exchange. They're pleased to announce that it's in the final stages of discussions and negotiations to enter into a reverse merger with a company listed on a national exchange. Man, and we've been on this one for a while, for about a year now, more than a year. They've accrued minimal debt, and they talk about, significant moves, uplisting to a major exchange, hammering it down. And look, they have the share structure for it. 53 million outstanding shares, about 54 million. Half restricted, half unrestricted. This stock moves very, very easy. It's an excellent stock. We called it here. I called it around like 3.5-ish, right around there, 3.54, I think, but I was pretty darn close, And so this thing has been on a major tear. And how exciting is that? If you got in there, you must be elated. So hopefully you guys took your profits and are riding like free shares at this point. This is like awesome. Some of you may have gotten in 2 years ago where, we're just getting back into those levels, but this is a dollar stock in my opinion. This is a huge company and they're going to expand into markets. I want to know when they're going to penetrate the United States online gambling, sports gambling market, because I think the numbers they're going to put out are going to be astronomical. If they're able to do what they're doing with just those markets that they're in now, look out for DRCR. They're going to smash this thing out of the park. Right now, I still think it's a buy. I always liked it at 18 cents. But remember, this is my opinion, not financial advice. You do you, and do your due diligence and do your research. And you know what? We just talked about IGPK with that breaking news. They confirmed they had the celebration for their relocation for their new headquarters. And hey, good stuff. And they updated as you saw, they updated their X account. They've been very transparent with everything. They updated their website. They're getting things going there. Dejun Wong welcomed everybody. You want to see that. That this is all great stuff. And like I said, and this I had this prepared because I'm like, today is the day. It's July 14th, and here we are. Luckily, we got that done. And they did put out a tweet on July 10th in regards to the itinerary for yesterday's event. So congratulations to Dejun Wong and the whole team over there on your new headquarters. And we're gonna see what happens with this one. Right now we saw what happened. When there was that reverse split news, the stock was traveling up nicely. It was topped out at 198. And I had 0075 marked personally for myself as a buy-in point. And honestly, that could have been, man, you could have made a lot of money there multiple times at that mark. Like I said, that's my personal mark. That's what I was going for. But now, we broke that. We're out of the sevens now. And are we going to see a consolidation here between 5 and 6? That's my question. I don't want to see 4s on this one. I really don't, because they've been transparent. The quarterly was very, very good. I think some people are waiting on the second quarterly. Typically, financials aren't the major catalyst in the OTC. But if we see consistency in the same type of numbers, and this is going to be a $100+ million company, and they're going to roll in other businesses, I think that is a very, very promising thing for this company. So there are many diehards with this one. So just keep this one on your radar, and let's see if we reclaim that 7.5 mark. This is a story that has just begun, and it's the story is being written, as we would say. ILUS, QIND, SAML. Yeah, there's a lot going on here. Let's just get right to that. This was from their last press release. All right. They talked a lot about QIND, and we heard what happened with Quality International. Personally, maybe Quality International is still on the table. And when they uplist, perhaps they'll then have the funding to purchase Quality International outright. We don't know. We're going to see how it plays out. But El Shola has $11 million and in revenue last year and 1.8 million in net income. It's a very, very good thing. All right. ILUS is also concentrating on issuing an SAML equity dividend to ILUS shareholders of record. All right. This is very, very important. And it went on. Furthermore, both ILUS subsidiaries are expecting to close significant additional acquisitions following their respective uplists. These are larger deals where extensive negotiations have taken place and are lined up for completion. This is the ultimate patience play. And you guys know I've been on this one for a very, very long time. But there's still time to add. I'll talk about the ILUS share price in a second. But there was major dumpage and selling, and this is going back to late June. And it was addressed. Nick Link addressed it. Let's look at the letter. And I like the transparency because he came right out and he put this out, and I thought this was good. It didn't do anything to recover the share price, but this shows that they are thinking about it as well. We've received several letters from shareholders in response to yesterday's significant selling pressure. I believe it's important to address all shareholders in this letter with our feedback and opinion. Firstly, there have been no recent share conversions, and we are not aware of any significant sellers. Yesterday's heavy selling pressure would appear to be stock manipulation, as we have experienced before. All right, so whether it was manipulation or just a lot of heavy selling with people just being fed up, maybe, or just, I don't know, maybe it was just heavy selling over a week, but you wonder when it dumps hard, that those are a lot of shares being dumped. We cannot control the share price, but we can control the strategy, development, and growth of the business, which we are executing exactly as previously expressed. And they've been on this show multiple times. They were just on within the last month talking about their plans and where they are going forward. I hope to sit down with them again. You know, those guys are busy and they're doing what they're doing. We are on track to finalize the uplisting of QIND, which I believe will bring significant value to ILUS and its shareholders. Once QIND completes this process, it should pave the way for substantial progress for SAML, which in turn I anticipate will benefit ILUS and its shareholders. ILUS itself is currently in discussions and preparing for an uplist, albeit taking a different route than QIND and SAML. This will involve some structuring and the acquisition of new assets, which is already underway. All right, so there's something that a structuring and the acquisition of new assets into ILUS. As is often assumed, this route does not involve a reverse split. Among several developments occurring in our business, I am pleased that the new additions to our accounting team are settling in well and working hard toward our August filings. Is the bottom in? I mean, the true value of this, in my opinion, I like it down here. I haven't added down here yet. I do plan on adding down here, though, because this is my ultimate long-term hold. This is my first big investment that I've made. Right now, I have about 50K in it. Many of you have a lot more. We are diehards when it comes to this stock, and we're excited about it. But there's no denying that the price action has been lackluster. What reassures me as a shareholder is knowing that they're continuing on with their plans, knowing that they're still trying to expand their businesses. They're on the verge of subsidiary uplists that are going to be massive. So very exciting here. And you know what? Some people are going to chase this. Bottoms in? I don't know. I sort of like it down here. And you know what? It is the longer it's here, the better, in my opinion, just for getting dollar cost averaging, just getting that average down. And right now I'm sitting with a 3-cent average, which I like, but I want to cut that in half. I'd like 3 million shares. Why the heck not? Right? I don't know. I'm going to get to your questions and comments in a second, guys. Let's keep going here. Oh, this is a newbie. We got ticker SFWJ. I just wanted to bring this one to the table. I have reached out to management, but the share structure, we're sitting here with it's at 3.5 cents, a $14.5 million market cap, and outstanding share count of 412, unrestricted 118 million, and held at DTC 63 million. I like this one because of how it moves. I had some fun the other day, and if you're in the Discord, you know, like that was me. That was me moving this stock, and it moved very easy. It doesn't seem like there are these big ask walls. So I'm going to try and add more of this one when I get the opportunity. So it moves easy, very, very easy. And so I'm trying to find these ones that are low float. Now, listen, the share structure is a little bigger, but the fact that it's moving like this is sort of telling. So keep this one on your radar. Things could get really, really exciting here. I'm just saying things get really exciting. And by the way, let's look. I did talk to the CEO. All right, Jose Gabriel Diaz. We talked earlier for a good half an hour. Seems like a really nice guy. He's excited about the industry that he's serving. Well, what industry? Well, it's Medcan is a holding company focused on acquiring and developing companies in the cannabis and CBD oil sectors. Our goal is to create global leaders in producing, processing, and distributing cannabis and CBD products. I did talk with them, and for you guys in the Discord, it's not just like some cannabis company that's floating around out there in the States. They're talking global here, and so he's going to be on in the Discord this week for an open Q&A for Discord members only regarding the business and sort of what's going on with it. And you guys are going to have the opportunity to sit with him one-on-one. So make sure if you're in the Discord, you follow the alerts. If you're in my Discord, you should have the alerts on. Seriously, because things are going to get really, really fun over the next couple months. I'm just saying. All right. IFUS. This one is just a beauty. I mean, what this company is doing is really, really nice. We've been here since a penny. Went on a really nice tear. Lots of profits have been made to that 16 cents. And, you have somebody like the professor who is like crazy about the stock. And he said right now, I'm holding for dollars. That I think that the possibilities here are absolutely huge. And so I had it marked at that like 6.5 cent, and it looks like it's been bouncing off there nicely, especially this week, or last week. It made some nice moves. See, it's topped out 16.5 cents. I like the consolidating at 7, consolidating. It had a dip, bounced off of 6 a couple times, and here we are again. So this thing went 16x from where we were when we started covering it. It is consolidated nicely. Are we on the next leg of the journey? Because this thing does move easy. There's been a lot of talk about short selling with this stock. And I'll tell you, it does happen across the trader world. It's the truth. And you could see it. And if you have any questions regarding the short selling on the stock, talk to the professor, the Whale Whisperer professor. He's in our Discord. He'll answer any questions that you have regarding this stock. He is all over this one. And I'm telling you, do I think this could go up into the dollar range? I don't like saying this, but yeah. And because I don't want to make that promise of like, oh, it's going to go to dollars. It's going to be $5 stock. I think this one is unique, and it's because it's a disruptive company with disruptive technology, and that is the key, and it's real. All right. So this is the Louisiana resolution. All right. Concurrent resolution 42. And this was labeled a slightly partisan bill, 16 Republicans, 17 Democrats, and it was passed on May 28th. All right. Now, what is this bill about, and why is this so important? Here's the summary. Urges and requests the Louisiana State University Ag Center and the Southern University Ag Center to work together to study alternative uses of sugarcane bagasse and to make recommendations on how such alternatives can be used to benefit sugarcane producers economically. Okay. Well, what's the one company doing it? Impact Fusion International. They are the ones. They're the ones that are doing this. All right. And look, hey, party time. Let's look at the roll calls. This thing passed without an opposing vote. All right. Passed the House 99-0. Passed the Senate 31-0. They're moving ahead with this. It doesn't label them directly, but hey, guess what? You could look at their PR and you could connect the dots. All right. So important. The company is pleased to report that the non-disclosure agreement and the memorandum of understanding with Southern University's Agriculture Research and Extension Center, SURAC, has been signed, which memorializes the relationship between the Center of and Impact Fusion International Incorporated. SURAC continues to conduct its test based on the delivery of 5,000 pounds of SGP Plus to its location. And okay, listen, I just want to stop here for a second. All right. If they get these studies and they go through them and the results are confirmed, this thing is a slam dunk. It's a slam dunk product wise because it's absurdly disruptive to the cattle industry. We're talking about healthier cattle. We're talking about less methane. We're talking about higher quality meat. And we're talking about a solution to the cattle industry crisis. You have countries slaughtering their cattle herds. There's hundreds of thousands in the name of being green, reducing CO2 emissions. It's not an easy industry, but when you have a viable solution like this, sign me up any day of the week. All right. I'm a proud shareholder, and I think that, Mark Walther and his passion and his team, I think they're going to knock this out of the park. And it does talk about Robert Schmidt. He went down. He's going to be setting things up. They're going to be doing some testing with, let's see right here. I'll just read the damn thing. How about that? Oh my God, I'm getting all excited. That's what's happening. Robert Schmidt III, Vice President of International Operations, has been asked to meet with a cattle rancher in Dallas, Texas area who raises Wagyu beef cattle. The rancher has met with Mr. Schmidt at Deer Run Ranch and invited him to visit his ranch to discuss introducing SGB Plus to his herd's ration. All right. This is big, so I think that they're doing excellent things. I'm excited about it. And yesterday, Mark Walther did an interview with John Zidar, who's been on the show, the Stocks Wizard. So I'm sure he released that video by now. So hop on over to his channel and watch the interview. I haven't watched it yet. I'll probably watch it tonight. Why the hell not? Let's go to your comments. Let's see. Okay, we're talking a little bit. CGRA, anything Nick touches gets destroyed with dilution, and he's so sketchy and scammy, in my opinion. Hey, that's your opinion. Absolutely, that's your opinion. You can have that opinion. I think that CGRA is going to move. I think that there's a lot of eggs in the basket right now, and I know that has been a critique of some of you guys. Is to that he moves, that they have a lot going on. Nicholas starts dilute. He needs to prove himself. Well, with ILUS, I mean, like for everything that they have under ILUS, there has been minimal dilution. And I disagree. I disagree with this comment. RB Capital has ILUS and Nick Link by the balls. People hit over 3 billion outstanding. I think we're going to get close to that. I think that they're making accommodations to that acquisition that's coming in. But let me just tell you, Cash, and this is it. Like I said, I can respectfully disagree with you, but hey, whatever. If they get QIND uplisted and then it's a success, and people make money on that, and they give that company a good, strong valuation where people make a lot of money, you're going to see SAML explode because they're going to do the same thing with that. And SAML is a huge buy in my opinion. So I'm waiting to see what happens with QIND. If they succeed, they get the big board, it's game over. Or it's game on, I guess we should say. The party's going to get started. QIND is pivotal. After that, look out SAML. After that, they nail that. Next up is ILUS, just like they say. It's not going quickly. They talked about the negotiations process for these larger acquisitions. It's not easy. Yeah, I'm going to bat for them right now. But I'm telling you, it's just a lot of... I'm excited about it. But we need to find out. I think we're going to hear something in the next couple of weeks about QIND. We're on the cusp. We are literally on the cusp. So I want to see it finally pay off. But yeah, dilution is always going to be an issue. And I think going forward, we're looking forward to not getting toxic funding and convertible debt. Convertible debt's great, Cash. And I know that you brought this up, but the truth is, it's fine to have some convertible debt. If you have a business that you get profitable, you pay down your debt. Boom, you move on. That's great. And that's the whole thing. Companies don't get to that level of profitability, and then guess what happens? The notes convert. And that's the crappy part. And then you just replied, I'll agree there, but Nick Silence on CGI is retarded, taken over and go silent and defaulted. We'll see what happens with it. I think that there's still, I want to see progress on the mining aspect of it. I do want to see something on the, oh my God, I did a product review. See, it's been so long since I've talked about CGRA. Do you see what happened? Savage Barbell. That's the company. I want to see something. We'll see what's going on with that. Is that still included in CGRA? I know it's a real company. I ordered the product. It came and, we tried it on and it was great. Actually, it's a great product, but I want to see what's going on with CGRA too, and that's why I really haven't covered it because there really has been much to cover. So, yep, IFUS moving up all week, heavy volume. I think people are loading the hell out of that thing, guys. They're loading the hell out of that thing, and rightfully so. I just talked about how disruptive it was. It gets me jazzed up when we actually have solutions to real problems. Does the government always want solutions to real problems? No, sometimes they like the problems because the problems, they get more control. That's my opinion. If it upsets you, well, that's okay. But they have a viable solution to a major, major problem. And so, if they get those confirmations from the university, it's game over. Not one opposing vote for that study. Not one opposing vote. That's the whole thing. And so I think you're going to see a lot of those. I mean, all you need is to win is one state. They start saving money. That thing will spread like wildfire. Then you'll have to call ILUS with their MIST technology. Oh, man. But no, it's true. It's very, very exciting. Very, very exciting. But that's all I got today. I hope you guys have a great week. We have a great week ahead. It was a wild weekend, we all know. But hang in there. Let's see what's going on in this trader world. Let's see how these things play out. My eyes are on QIND. My eyes are on IGPK. DRCR is smashing this thing out of the park. IFUS is on it. SFWJ, I'll see you guys in the Discord, and we're going to talk, and we're going to have that Q&A, and it's going to be very exciting. And hopefully I get to have a CEO on the show live for everybody as well. That's all I got. That's all I got. I'm done. I'm done today. You guys have an awesome week. We're going to have a great week. Let's make it a great week. And remember, there's more that binds us than breaks us. Peace out.